Hello. Good evening and welcome to Have I Got News For You? My name is Boris Johnson, and when I first appeared as a guest on this show, I complained that the whole thing was scripted and fully rehearsed. I'd now like to complain in the strongest possible terms that it isn't. In the news this week, undiscovered footage from William Hague's school days supports his claims that he used to drink 14 pints a night. On Evel Knievel's Arizona ranch, his favourite cow prepares for a world record attempt. And in Brussels, a rare rugby victory for Wales is celebrated by European Commissioner Neil Kinnock. On Ian's team is a stand-up comedian who admits he's performed in some of London's seediest night spots, so a very familiar face to many of us in Parliament. Stephen K. Amos. And on Paul's team is a presenter whose new Channel 5 show is called God Almighty, which coincidentally is what most people said when they heard I was to present this show. Clive Anderson. And we start with round one. Paul and Clive, what's all this about?
Fire, fireman, John Prescott chewing his own fist.
Yep.
The question from you, the person that's on fire at the back. We're off, lads. We're sick of what we're hearing. There's the empty chairs, so if the soldiers give in, the chairs will have to go to fight fires.
Very good. Very good. I think you're on the right track.
Covered it well there.
I think you're on the right track. It's about the firemen's strike. The question is, what have the firemen been complaining of particularly about the negotiations?
Well, they agreed a deal and then it was withdrawn.
Absolutely. Total confusion in the government, isn't there?
It's now
They've been getting confusing messages.
Yes.
Is that a state of mind you're familiar with, Boris?
No.
Total confusion.
But firemen have been getting... Firemen are used to getting confusing messages. It's always, the house is on fire. It's the red house at the end of the road, and they normally get through that, don't they?
But it's people also say, you know, now there's a fireman strike, I'm going to drive much more carefully on the motorway. Because when the firemen are there, I drive about 110 miles an hour. Nothing I like better than to be cut out of my Lamborghini on Friday night.
The first night of the strike, there was a fire in a fireworks factory in Manchester, and you think, of all the nights to be careful with your fireworks factory, you would have thought there'd have been just a bit, you know...
And what did the police say? Go away, there's nothing here to see.
It's all about jobs, though, really, isn't it? Because especially John Prescott is about to lose his if he doesn't solve this problem.
That's right, which brings us to the answer to the question, which is the reason the firemen are confused is that they have been talking to John Prescott. And here's what Mr. Prescott said this week on the matter of secondary strike action by tube drivers. I've already mentioned, quite frankly, there may be 100 previously. Then it was down to 1 yesterday, now it's no. Not. And I think we should welcome that as a fact. I wonder if you know what John Prescott's view was of the fire strike 25 years ago, when there was the last time it happened.
Well, I think he was probably supportive of it for the ironical way you're asking that question.
He probably said that the firefighters were a very important special case and they should be treated as a special case, very much so.
Absolutely right. Give that man a coconut. He said they're a coconut, or whatever, the prize you get. Well, no, I'm going to have a point. Have several points.
Start giving out coconuts.
Have one, but have one.
Coconuts here.
That's a good way of scoring it as any.
Yeah, OK.
We're one coconut ahead.
I'll have a coconut. I've changed my mind, boys. I will have a coconut.
We'll have to get the catering.
I bet I end up with less coconuts.
No, you never know. I've got a lovely bunch.
Anyway, whether or not we can supply coconut or not, I don't know. But I'll tell you exactly...
So, hang on a minute. You're offering coconuts, and yet you have not... there's no facility to give me a coconut.
You're promising something you can't deliver, which is what you accuse the Labour Party of.
How do you know it? You said... How do you know that we can't deliver coconuts?
Well,
how do you know? I think it's completely wrong of you to assert that. I'm very well in with the catering department of this of Hat-Trick Productions, and we are going to supply coconuts within a reasonable delay.
Delay?
Yes.
Well, with the rate they're going to get into power, about 20 years.
Well done, everybody, on being so... well done, being spot on in your answer to that question. What term did Tony Blair use to describe the potential cost to the taxpayer of the settlement?
Heaps.
A lot. A lot.
Catastrophic.
Catastrophic? Any
So,
advice on catastrophic?
a minister in Scotland called them fascist bastards, but he had to resign as a result of that.
He claimed he was quoting somebody else.
Yes.
Yes.
Tony Blair, probably.
Yeah.
But,
He called them Scargillites, didn't he? Oh, it is a problem for you lot, isn't it, you Tories? Because he's more right-wing than you are, really.
Sorry, who is? The Scottish
This
minister?
Blair man.
Well...
When he puts on the Thatcher
I
wig and says, I'm not for turning, I mean, what can you do?
I think the problem is that if you want a sort of political... You want me to political...
No,
political,
you've got your objective journalist hat on.
Well, OK, my objective journalist hat on. I think...
is this question time with Boris? You've got David Dimmock's job as well.
It's absolutely true. I don't mind. The issue is really one of competence and how they've managed to provoke this strike and how they're managing to prolong it by bumbling around and giving conflicting signals. And you can't really blame
the policy that's worked
firemen.
for some people.
You can't really blame the firemen for thinking that they could get 40% when they see, you know, some of these jobs being advertised in The Guardian for one thing or another at very considerable salaries.
Haven't MPs got 40% this year?
And they have. I want to say they didn't get. They got a model. They didn't get 40%, but they did get.
What do you mean they? You keep saying they.
We. I'm honoured to be the first MP to present this programme, by the way. We.
Probably the last.
Anyway, I'm a quiz show host tonight, and I want to make one point. I'm being paid for this show 40% less than either of the two.
Don't ask what we're being paid then.
Exactly. This is indeed the continuation of the fire dispute. Last week, John Prescott was woken at 3 in the morning by a call from union negotiators. They didn't have a new offer, they just wanted to annoy him. Militant union leader Derek Simpson called on workers to bring down Labour. According to The Sun, his outburst rang alarm bells in Downing Street. And 6 hours later, a green goddess arrived to see what was up. This latest strike has seen a huge increase in the number of irresponsible hoax calls, like the one from Prescott to Blair saying, "It's all right, Tony, I've got it all sorted." Ian and Stephen, your turn.
Oh, right.
Women.
Yeah.
It's the Miss World that was scheduled to take place in Nigeria. There was like some kind of wild, raging fire, people fighting in the streets.
There was, yeah.
I think it's perhaps because they saw Miss Germany myself, but... oh, big hands, big hands. Now...
We think the Miss World competition is sort of cheesy and 30 years out of date, but in northern Nigeria it's about 500 years ahead of its time. Someone wrote an article, the fashion correspondent of a Nigerian newspaper, wrote an article saying perhaps the Prophet would have taken one of these girls as his wife, and that's not what they want from their fashion articles. So they started burning the place down.
That's right.
I think she was meant to write sort of black is the new black. And,
and it so is.
Burkas are in.
And what was the result? What happened to this?
105 people were killed,
yes.
I remember that, and they scrapped the contest in Nigeria and shamefully it's now going to be held in Ali Pali in London.
Yes, it didn't occur to anyone to actually just call it off. You know, the show has to go on because it's jolly important.
It's bad luck for Miss Nigeria, who's now not playing a home match, but of course Miss Nigeria is now not so much a contestant as a piece of advice from the Foreign Office, so it's...
Very, very good point. Does anybody know what Miss Norway said after getting safely back to London?
Glad to be back in London.
More or less. She said...
To be fair, she probably said it in Norwegian, so I...
No, she didn't. She spoke fluent English. She said, "We're off to McDonald's and I can't wait." What was the worst bit about the flight home? Can anybody remember?
Well, the shot of them drinking champagne. It seemed there wasn't that much to celebrate.
No, they all wanted to get into the airplane lavatories to...
To what? To what?
They all wanted to look their best. They all wanted to look their best. That was,
in the toilet?
Well, apparently.
I thought they were just cracking open their souvenir coconuts.
I'm just telling you. The show will now be staged at Alexandra Palace. And do you know why that is an appropriate venue?
Well, because it's a very big room that you can accommodate a big fashion competition. You can get cameras in.
No, it's a very complicated question.
Oh, I know, because it doesn't burn very quickly.
It was the very first site of the very first second Miss World
This is a very
contest.
recondite piece of political...
What does that mean?
This is a tricky one.
Yes.
This is a tricky one. It's a tricky one. The answer is...
Street.
Street. Recondite's not a street.
OK, all right. The answer... You want to know the answer or not?
Yes.
Yes.
The answer is that...
I don't want to know the answer.
All right, who wants to know the answer?
We want to know
I'll tell you. The answer is
This is anarchy.
The answer is that it's... I'm in charge here. The answer is in the constituent...
Hang on, Boris.
I'm going to tell you the answer.
If that's the answer, what was the question?
I'm going to tell you the answer. I'm going to tell you the answer whether you like it or not.
Yes.
The answer is in the constituency of Barbara Roche, who is Minister for Women. That's why it's an appropriate venue. And well done, folks. And this indeed related to the Miss World contest. A spokeswoman for the pageant said that although the contest is being moved to England, it will retain a Nigerian flavour, which means they're going to have a riot and then stone Edwina Currie to death. Things turned ugly early on in the competition when Miss Bulgaria walked down the catwalk. I think you might get a démarche from the Bulgarian embassy. I think you want to cut that from the... Labour MP Glenda Jackson said they should call the whole contest off anyway, arguing it's such an antediluvian concept. That's a big word for a pretty lady. Paul. No, Paul.
Yes.
I wanted Basil Brush. I wanted Basil Brush. I'm not sure we haven't got him.
Paul and Clyde, what's happening here?
Yeah. This is old grapes. Yes, it's about Tesco's. Black widow spiders in grapes because they've stopped using insecticide.
They're there to eat off all the pests.
That's
and,
right.
It's not just Tesco's, in Waitrose as well.
Oh, really?
But they have a slightly more upmarket spider,
Yeah.
obviously. On that as well.
Have you made up the bit about Waitrose?
No, I haven't made that bit about Waitrose.
So
it's been
there
in
are
Tesco
spiders
and
there
in
as well.
Waitrose, yes.
Right.
Because
So I
once
wouldn't
a story
want them to
like...
get bad publicity if they didn't have to.
Trust me, I'm a lawyer, Ian.
Right, good.
He doesn't normally trust people.
Who's the one who gets sued for libel week after week? Is it me or you?
Can I ask, do you know where the spiders have been flying in from?
Yeah, Balham.
California they've been coming in from.
Nigeria.
It's actually a trick question, of course, because spiders can't fly. We got you that time. And what did Stephanie Thornycroft do, the customer of Tesco's, when she found one, as she put it, crawling up her colander?
She put it in the fridge.
She screamed.
She called the fire brigade, was it?
She got a neighbour...
Rolf Harris.
She got a neighbour to kill it and took it back to Tesco, who apologised and exchanged it for a fresh one. What was the positive gloss that Tesco put on the affair?
It shows you're not getting all these poisonous chemicals out of your grapes. They're healthier grapes for you, and you live a happy and healthy life for the 5 minutes it takes for the poison to kick in and knock you off. It's nature's way. It's nature's way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Dead right. What is the good news to emerge from this business?
I answered that, didn't I?
Yes.
The good news is we don't have pesticides on our grapes anymore.
You know, almost. No, the good news is the California grape season is nearly at an end, and the bad news...
Is it starting up again in a week's time?
The bad news is they're about to start shipping the grapes from Africa, so we're advised to look out for the occasional hippo. not the strongest joke I've ever seen.
You sold it so well. Every comedian who's ever lived has always hesitated, looked down at the piece of paper, looked up and said the word hippo with a startled expression on his face.
I think the idea is trying to sell it as though it's your own material, Boris.
Right.
You're trying to distance yourself from it.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not. I
puts
plant my
paid-
flag firmly on that joke. I want you to know I don't distance myself from it. Collective cabinet responsibility for that joke. Yes, this is the worrying news that deadly black widow spiders have been turning up in bunches of Tesco grapes. Some commentators have expressed surprise that the spiders had survived the long-haul flight from California, as with 8 legs, they're far more likely to develop deep vein thrombosis.
You happy with that joke?
I thought that was pretty good. I like that one.
Yeah.
The Times reassured those unlucky enough to be bitten by a black widow. Victims who die are almost always very old or very young. Or flies. It's not the first time something like this has happened. According to one news report, unwelcome objects previously found in an item of food include the remains of a mouse, a condom, and half a wasp. Apart from that, the kebab was delicious. Ian and Stephen, make sense of this one.
Courtroom, there's a judge recently ruled in America that you can now film a jury in murder trials.
Yeah. They've got to decide whether to kill this 17-year-old or not, and it's going to be filmed live. It is the latest bit of reality television. So the jury will be able to say, well, I reckon we should, you know, string him up or inject him or whatever they do in Texas.
But first, a commercial break.
And I think you probably get a chance to vote online. Do you think he should be thrown out of life? You don't get the execution yet, though. But I think that's coming.
That's right.
I've served in a jury.
Have you?
I have. Very mad, strange folk on the jury. I sat in a jury room to deliberate this case, and my fellow juror looked at me and she said, "What are you doing here? Weren't you in the..." Oh.
I was in a case where we'd accused Robert Maxwell of trying to buy a peerage, and after 3 days, the foreman of the jury said to the judge, my fellow members and I would like to know what a peer is.
Well, it's a very good system. It's a very good system which this government is abolishing, isn't it?
Yes.
In
Trial by
some
jury,
cases,
yes.
In some cases, and
They're
which,
always trying to abolish it. They've tried it. This is the third time they've had to go.
Absolutely outrageous. Anyway, stick up for it, folks.
How long has the trial by jury been around?
Well, there are some people who say that it was brought in by the Normans, but there's evidence there was a certain amount of it under the Anglo-Saxons, so you're talking about, what, 1,000 years thereabouts.
I mean, it's the best system, isn't it?
It's certainly, if you're a criminal barrister, it's one I always used to enjoy, but yeah, it's a jolly system.
When was the last time you were in court, Clive?
I just want to assert my prerogatives as the host.
Right, let's get on with it.
I think we've done very well on the jury issue, and we had a very good, very good seminar on that. I just want to ask you now, as a panel...
I think somebody's talking in your ear, telling you.
That is outrageous. I just want to ask you, where do you think the business of reality TV can go? Where will it end?
Well, it could be you doing this show. No, you said reality TV.
Yeah.
I'm convinced this is a dream. I don't know which one of us is dreaming it, but it's very convincing. Well, I don't know. In the end, I suppose you'll just watch, I don't know, people dying.
Yeah.
I'm looking at you, Boris. No, you're not.
Is there a right answer to this question that we're trying to get?
Where else could it go? What else could you do?
I've got a brilliant idea for a reality TV, as there's a Big Brother version, when everyone would go up, the celebrities would go up in a basket under a hot air balloon, and we'd have a real balloon debate. And then, when you got voted out, you'd have to do a parachute jump off of it. And I've suggested a big, brilliant idea. You'd have, Ian would be up there, Paul, me, Richard Branson would provide the balloon. I think it's a great idea.
If it was Branson's balloon, it would crash anyway.
It's a first-rate idea, and I hope very much that you do all you can to bring it to our screens.
Why do I feel like somebody who's just been to my MP's surgery with a
What reality TV show was accused this week of being faked?
The Osbournes.
Absolutely right. Why?
The children said the producers got us to have a row, and then their dad said, no, they didn't, and the kids said, yes, they did, and then they had a row.
They also introduced a dog psychiatrist into the mix, apparently.
Is a dog trained to be a psychiatrist? How does that work? You've got a problem, you're sitting there, a poodle saying, well, you know, I blame your mother.
I'm a German Shepherd, but now I'm a psychiatrist. That's right. Don't lie on the couch, we're not allowed on the couch. It's an old dog. It's an old dog, he makes some old jokes as well.
You got your Christmas crackers earlier this year, didn't you? Talking of Christmas crackers, your go, Boris.
Thank you, Paul. What other reality TV show is on at the moment?
Big Brother. Big Brother, as I think Ian mentioned.
Celebrity Big Brother.
Celebrity Big Brother.
That's on.
A loose definition of the term.
It's kind of losing its appeal now, isn't it, really? I think when these people go in there, they always sort of obey what they're told to do, you know. Nobody's rebelling. They all get into that mindset where you have to do what you're told. A bit like being a Tory MP, I suppose.
Big Brother is absolutely the right answer. And
Did anybody say that?
Well, someone said something. Listen, never mind. But we're getting there. We're moving irresistibly towards a conclusion. Yes, it's the latest developments in reality TV, with a judge in Texas allowing TV cameras to film a jury reaching its verdict in a genuine murder trial. Since the accused may go to the electric chair if found guilty, the producers insist that the programme will be handled in a sensitive and dignified manner. And if you're interested, To Fry or Not to Fry begins next week. This week, as Celebrity Big Brother drew to a close, the public had to choose between Les Dennis and another TV personality, a decision Amanda Holden is all too familiar with. Well, whoever
Do you know who either of them are?
I have to tell you that I'm no. Oh dear.
Well, I think that is worth a round of applause, because I'd have been disappointed if you'd had any idea who.
Well, I don't, but I'm happy to be elucidated. But first of all,
Elucidated?
to be told.
I think you've been inoculated.
Oh, come on, team, we've got to get a grip here.
Yeah.
Just ask Ian how he's so expert on Big Brother.
Yes, sorry, good question. There you go. You should do this. Why don't you ask him? Tell me, Ian, how come you're so expert on Big Brother?
Because it's in all the down-market rags like the Telegraph and the Financial Times most days. No, it's all there in the papers. You should read them.
Far be it from me to advertise this week's fantastic edition of The Spectator.
Nor me. Don't look at me. I'm not going to advertise it.
All right. Well, there is. I know this will get cut, but I might as well point it out to you anyway. There's a very good cover story this week about, human sacrifice and celebrity, and there it is. I see it being waved in by the audience.
Yes.
I'm very grateful.
Are those your parents? You haven't got your mum and dad. Look. Oh, that's really sweet. I knew 3 people bought The Spectator. I didn't know it was you 3.
Yeah. Now, at first there was only a small crowd waiting to greet Anne Diamond as she left the Big Brother house. According to The Sun, producers had to issue a plea for extra guests over the tannoy at a nearby Tesco's. A few curious shoppers duly turned up to see Anne Diamond, though the majority chose to stay put and take their chances at the grape counter. At the end of that round, a quick look at the scores shows us that Paul and Clive have 7 points, and Ian and Stephen are trailing narrowly with 6 points. Now,
Why are we trailing?
I think you've been narrowly slower to the answers than this team here. But you've got every chance to make up ground in round 2, which we come to without delay, which is usually a tabloid headline round. But since I'm in charge, nominally, we're going to do something different and play a special brand new game called Kick Blair's Butt. Before we start, let's remind ourselves of the type of guy we're dealing with.
I think most people who have dealt with me think I'm a pretty straight sort of guy, and I am.
Well, we'll be the judge of that. Fingers on the buzzers.
Oh, it's...
Yep, buzzers. What lie did Tony Blair tell Jeremy Paxman on Newsnight in May this year?
Ian. He said he... Very good. He said he hadn't read the sort of magazines that Mr. Richard Desmond produces, the Asian Babes and Big Ones, and then it later transpired that on a train someone had put them in front of him and he'd had a bit of a look. And this was embarrassing because Dirty Des has given the Labour Party this huge amount of money.
Spot on. It's absolutely true that he claimed he'd never seen any of Richard Desmond's pornographic publications, and it later transpired that, in fact, the political editor of the Daily Express had deliberately shown Blair a full selection of titles 2 years before. And you've done very well by naming some of the titles already, so we won't ask you to show any further knowledge. Next question.
Are they going to be?
Yeah. Leaders' wives. Yeah.
Next question. What is Tony Blair's favourite tune?
That's the first note of it, whatever it is.
I'll name that tune in one. Was it Barber's Adagio for Strings?
Is one of them.
Way the lads.
My old man's a dustman. It depends on his audience, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well done. You get a point each because the correct answer is, of course, it depends who's asking. He told Desert Island Discs it was Barber's Adagio for strings. He told the rocket station Heart FM it was Where the Streets Have No Name by U2. And presumably he told Rave magazine it was Smack My Bitch Up by the Prodigy.
I think tonight we are defining surrealism.
Next question.
That's great.
Next.
Go on, sing a bit of it.
My children think it's called Smack My Picture, actually.
Let them be innocent.
Yes.
Next, what did Tony Blair achieve in less than 10 seconds on 10th April 1998?
He smacked his bitch up.
He did not. He did not. I'll hear many things against the Prime Minister, but he did not do that. He went back. Any advances on Ian?
Did he cut crime?
He did not cut crime.
Stephen's...
Hello? What was the question?
He broke a promise. He went back on his word.
Was it the fuel tax?
Good Friday. The Good Friday.
He said he was going to rise from the dead.
Here he is in Belfast, just before the Good Friday Agreement.
A day like today, I mean, it's not a day for sort of sound bites, really. We can leave those at home, but I feel the hand of history upon our shoulder.
And meanwhile, the hand of John Prescott was on a hot cross bun. Next question. The Italian press once called Tony Blair Lo Scroccone.
Yes.
What does Lo Scroccone mean?
Scrotum. Literally several scrotums.
It's just about his holiday home that he didn't pay for, the scrounger, isn't it? He rented a holiday flat. Well, he didn't rent it because he got it for nothing, and they were very upset. The Italian press, very upset. They said he should have paid for it, but he didn't.
And they cleared the beaches for him, didn't they?
Yeah,
So
that's
he got
right,
a lovely holiday.
Stop the sea coming in.
It was the Italian press who called him a scrounger because the Blairs stayed in a Tuscan villa at the expense of the Italian taxpayer. The following year, the Blairs decided they didn't want to be away from their Islington friends, so back to Tuscany they went. Next question. In 19...
You're an Islington friend of Tony.
I am, yes, indeed. Well, he's no longer in Islington. He now lives in 10 Downing Street. You should keep up with the news.
But he was a near neighbour of yours.
Fairly near, yes. Yeah, well, we used to, borrow cups of sugar and stuff like that. But,
Do you still see much of him?
not so much
Did he give them
anymore.
back? Did he give the sugar back?
Well, it's an undertaking over a period of 7 years. There'll be a reallocation of sweetening resources, yes, in the fullness of time, but only within the confines of the overall economic plan, as long as Gordon says it's all right, subject to 5 tests to do with dental caries, fattening, refinement, I can't think of
Very good.
Next question. In 1998, before a Labour Party gala dinner in Blackpool, Tony Blair attended a special champagne reception. Who picked up the tab? Stephen.
I have no idea.
A famous American company.
Was it McDonald's?
No, the famous American company that's been in difficulties. Clive.
I was going to say McDonald's, but I'll change it to either Enron, Arthur Anderson, or any other 95 other American companies. Say Enron, then.
Enron is the answer. And it is, absolutely. And purely by coincidence, the Labour government then gave the go-ahead to Enron to take over Wessex Water just a few months after that drinks party. So not so much water into wine as wine into water. Next question.
That was awfully good.
Yeah.
I'm terribly difficult to read this thing. It's so Next
If you're having problems, you can point it over here. Next.
All right.
I'm a hippopotamus in occasionally. That works
Yes,
well.
I like that one very much. The next question. Whose life did Tony Blair save in May 2001?
This is when they were out swimming or in a boat and one of these holiday things again, and there was a guy, I think a Norwegian or a Swede or something, got into difficulties in the water, and Tony Blair dived in, saved him, gave him the kiss of mouth, whether he wanted it or not.
And then later the tourist said, I was fine, thanks, I was just swimming along, and this madman picked me up, dragged me into a boat and said, I'm saving your life.
Absolutely true, but it's not the right answer because it's May 2001, and the answer is Phoenix, the calf. Can you remember why Phoenix was saved?
Because it was on the front page of the Daily Mail. And that's
news,
where policy's made now.
He or she had been in amongst all the other cows, all been slaughtered, and emerged as one
Like a phoenix.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hence the name.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. What do you think happened to Phoenix?
She did pantomime, didn't she?
Yeah.
With Christine Hamilton.
What did you say?
Pantomime with Christine Hamilton.
She was the back half.
She played the back half of Christine Hamilton. I was getting there, Clive.
Yeah, I'm
but
sorry,
thank you
I'm
for helping me.
Well done. Next question. The latest figure for Tony Blair is 7%. What is that? What am I talking about? What does that refer to?
7% of people in this country trust Tony Blair. In a recent poll, only 7% thought he was the most trustworthy person in Britain.
How many percentage did you get in?
About 11, I think.
Well done.
And I think Keith Chegwin was 90.
It's almost the right answer. Actually, it's his average figure for turning up for votes in the House of Commons.
Is it really?
It is, it is.
And is
Why
that
was
higher
he
or
made-
lower than yours?
I thought you might ask that.
Why was he made Parliamentarian of the Year then?
Let him answer the question.
Which question do you want me to answer?
This one.
The answer is that my record is at least 50% higher than Tony Blair's. I mean, not just 50%, up to
So that's
15%.
10.5%.
No, not whatever it is. But I've turned up, for 2/3, roughly speaking.
What, of every
the,
session?
Yeah.
So your figure-
every vote, including deferred divisions, I made tons of speeches.
Your corresponding figure to his 7% will be 66% then? Are you saying
yeah,
that?
about 60%.
60%?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But what I was asking you is why did you make him Parliamentarian of the Year then? You and your magazine made him Parliamentarian of the Year.
It wasn't so much kick Blair's butt as kiss it, really.
No, well, steady on. I think,
Steady on?
I take your point. I would
And
point
it's a
out...
slightly odd decision, wasn't it? Given that he has shown a total contempt for Parliament, to call him Parliamentarian of the Year is quite weird.
Well, you must bear in mind, first of all, Ian, that this was a democratic decision. And I was the clerk of the court. I was merely reflecting the views of the panel of judges. To some extent I had to go. The second and more important point is, of course, that our real calculation, or my calculation, was this was by far the best way of annoying Gordon Brown. And, if you really wanted to cause difficulties in the Labour Party, I thought this was the most ingenious way to do it. All other... All other strategies so far not having proved wholly successful.
Was it filmed? Is there footage of you giving a prize to Tony?
Unfortunately, the Prime Minister felt that he couldn't be with us on that occasion, so he sent us a snatch of Tony Vision from Prague.
Have you got it?
I could get you a copy of it round to you.
Can we do better than that? Has someone got it?
Thank you to Boris and all his team. Thank you to Boris for not just the work you do at The Spectator, but the excellent work you do for the Conservative Party.
There you go.
I thought he was going to say thank you for the work you do for the Labour Party, which obviously is well worth the war.
There you go. I think the shares are going to start plummeting in Blair pretty
Once
soon.
you start giving him prizes, their career's finished, you reckon?
He picked Estelle Morris last year. So
As what?
I can't remember. So
There has been talk of you, Boris, perhaps becoming the next Conservative leader.
I think the chances of that are about as
Likely as you
likely
presenting
as-
Have I Got News for You?
or being blinded by a champagne cork, or decapitated by a frisbee, or locked in a disused fridge, or some other statistically.
But these things do happen.
It's all
The
possible.
chances of my being made leader of the Conservative Party are about as high as
Ian Duncan
Ian Duncan Smith is a first-class leader of the Conservative Party,
Yeah.
and doing a great
Keeps
job.
that quiet.
And doing a. Okay, this is the BBC, isn't it? Do you want me to go into anti-BBC auto rant?
Yes.
Yes, I mean, it's a miracle. I knew it was all too good to last. You let me have this kick Blair's butt thing.
Yeah.
It's all... And here we go again with a great... you've got a government in power that is getting away with absolute murder, mayhem all around London.
A totally useless leader of the opposition who's letting him do it.
Nonsense. You've got a very effective opposition which is being grotesquely let down by the media.
They're laughing, Boris, they're laughing.
They are, and they're agreeing, they're clapping.
Yeah.
They're clapping. They are. Because you have a BBC which relentlessly fails to put over the Conservative
So
case
just the
by dint
media.
of such extreme manoeuvres as getting me to present this programme, that sort of thing, and not putting across, I think, that all the
So
things
do you think
the government's
getting
doing
you
wrong.
to present is a deliberate anti-Tory move?
Well, look, I think we're now in the higher realms.
Is it like you voting Tony Blair as Parliamentarian of the Year? Is it the same ruse?
Is there a method to the madness?
There is. I only want you all to realise that if Tony Blair continues to think that he walks on water, he may soon find that he is in error, and you may find that there is another party that is ready and willing to take up the reins of government.
The Liberals?
Not
Yes.
the Liberals. The Conservative Party. The Conservative Party. Not the Liberals. Not the Conservative Party. The Conservative Party, and we will do a far better job than one he's doing at the moment. And if I can't, I believe that will be probably cut from this.
No, I think they'll leave it in.
Boris, they'll leave it in. And good for you, chaps. Leave it in. Leave it in. Why not? Because I believe it, and who knows?
Yeah.
Who
Somebody
knows?
else might
My
be
view-
one day.
The last question is, how was Tony Blair frightened by Sharon Storer?
Was she the one who waylaid him at the election time outside the hospital and
Yeah.
complained about the poor treatment of her
Well done.
fiancé?
Well done, Clive.
But there's a brilliant piece of media management, because that day John Prescott was told to go and punch somebody in the streets. So nobody ever concentrated on poor old Sharon Storer, who had a sort of genuine and interesting complaint about the health service.
Absolutely right. And here she is, pouncing on Blair just outside the Queen Elizabeth Hospital in Birmingham.
So would you like to tell me what you're going to do to provide those people with better facilities?
That's exactly what we're trying to do.
I hope you do, because it's absolutely appalling, and if you'd just like to go and have a look at it, then you'll find out just how terrible it
I'm
really
very sorry
is.
about the situation.
No,
that
you're
we
not
are.
very sorry, because if you was, you would do something about
that's
it.
ex-
Yes, you're going to do something, can't you? But you're not, because you won't. Excuse
If I can
me.
just explain to you what I am going to try and do.
And that is the end of that round, with Blair's butt well and truly kicked. Job done. And both teams are level with a ginormous 11 points each. Round 3 is all about picking the odd one out. Paul and Clive, your four are Christine Hamilton, David Beckham, Theresa May and P. Diddy.
Christine Hamilton's just been found in a bunch of grapes. Yes. There's a lot of that this week going on.
This is going to be about shoes, isn't it, I think, because there's definitely a connection with
Theresa May's
Theresa
famous
May
for shoes,
wearing
yes.
the leopard skin shoes. Were they leopard skin? And
Not real leopard.
David Beckham wears boots, doesn't he? Football boots that have been designed by... Is that they talk about designing shoes?
Absolutely right. Spot on.
It's all shoes, right?
You're in the right ballpark.
Does P. Diddy have a pair... You're up on P. Diddy, aren't you?
I say Elaine May, probably, she doesn't design shoes. Well, not Elaine May, what's her name?
Oh, Theresa May.
I think she's probably the odd one out. She doesn't design shoes.
Elaine May?
No, Theresa May has got a range of shoes made for her after her stunning performance with Boris at the Tory party conference.
The shop
She
has
was
brought
wearing
it out,
these
hasn't it,
kitten-
Dave?
Yeah,
I don't think she's
Bromley, isn't it?
involved.
Absolutely right. You both, between you, got the... I'll give you a point each.
Wait a minute.
No, well, I think you both got two components of the answer. They've all designed their own range. What? Will you forgive me? Will you forgive me? I'm just being reprogrammed here. Okay.
Is that the producer trying to rig the score again?
He's trying to stop you getting given a point for saying something I just said.
No.
Yes. Okay, stop. Okay, stop. Okay, silence. Okay, stop.
He gave your
fingers
answer.
on the buzzers. Fingers on the buzzers.
Okay.
Stop. Which is the odd one out and why?
Dr. Martin will answer. That's the
Theresa
shoe
May's
question.
the odd one out because she doesn't design her own shoes.
No.
Is virtually Ian.
It's virtually Ian.
No, go on. I want to hear what Ian's got to say.
I'm a virtual character now. Well, I won't answer if that was right, because it'd be a waste of time. But
The answer is they all get money from shoes, apart from Theresa May, who's just famous for wearing the Conservative Party.
But she's not, though. She's had a range of shoes designed for her this week. That's what I was trying to say. Beckham has a range of shoes, boots. P. Diddy has leisure wear, and Elaine Hamilton... Christine has just eaten a spider.
Well done. Well
It's
done.
her.
That is more or less exactly...
Christine Hamilton.
More or less exactly the right answer. They've all designed their own range of clothing, except Theresa May, who was this week presented with
Oh, I was
especially...
completely wrong, then.
with especially- designed pair of shoes by Russell and Bromley. No, I thought you were right.
Now, I said that answer you've just read out.
But Beckham doesn't design his own.
Boris, you edit a magazine?
And he said he was right. He said
What on earth are the editorial meetings like?
No.
I don't know. Well, you got something good idea, I'll put it on paper. I think you should do that. Or I don't know. I have a biscuit. Is it cheese? Oh, yes, you'll do that, yes, yeah. What time is it now? Shall I go home? Oh, I'm here. Oh, wait.
Look, I don't edit a magazine about shoes, but I'm trying to be fair to all of you. You've all done exceptionally well on this question.
You turned into young Mr. Grace.
You both, in your own ways, got very close to the heart of the matter.
It's a non-competitive sports day.
That's right, and you're both on 12 points. I know it's very tense for you. And the answer is they've all designed their own range of clothing, except Theresa May, who was this week. Shut up! Honestly, who was this week presented with a specially designed pair of shoes by Russell and Bromley.
Oh, yes.
So you got the point. What's going on? We're in a time loop. We've seen that picture in the name of God.
Have you seen that one?
We've seen this. It's come up before.
Have you seen that picture before?
Yes. How'd you get a leopard to wear a pair of slacks?
Right, the answer is that they've all designed their own range of clothing, except Theresa May. What's happening to me?
I've got the mixture of drugs wrong. That picture will come up again in a minute.
This is like a very, very cheap edition of Doctor Who, where he just travels around in the studio for a minute here, a minute there.
We've all got a life to lead, Boris.
I feel I'm just trapped in this thing where they keep making me read this same thing. It must be a bit like being Blair with one of those.
Start on this bit. This is good. This bit here. This is terrific.
Yeah. OK,
you're right, Boris. You're trapped in a time warp. Or the Conservative Parties, it's normally called.
I thought you might say something like that. After Theresa May... Very good, though. After Theresa May said the Tories were widely perceived as nasty and uncaring, Norman Tebbit responded, Miss May's depiction of the party will come back to haunt her. And if it doesn't, he will. In the nicest possible way, I should say, since Norman is on the board of The Spectator. P. Diddy...
Is he alive?
No, but he's on the board of The Spectator.
And not only is he on the board of The Spectator, we actually gave him an award.
Did you?
In the same sentence, but he was Peer of the Year. Yeah, absolutely.
Peer of the Year.
It's like Rear of the Year, really, isn't it?
Except more prestigious. P. Diddy recently gave some fashion advice to Her Majesty the Queen, saying, listen up, Queenie. Your threads belong in the drape crib, big time. And give me a 24/7 monster head mash.
Boris, do you know what you're saying?
I thought it was quite interesting what P. Diddy said. and worth repeating on this show.
There's a big P. Diddy vote out there.
P. Diddy, by the way, P. Diddy was recently investigated for tax fraud. Not the first time the Inland Revenue have been after a Diddy man. Ian and Stephen, you're foursome. Anne Widdecombe, William Straw, 60 EasyJet passengers, and Dotty the dog.
Is it all about fines?
It's not all about fines.
I know the answer to this.
We want a clue, thank you.
Can we have a clue, then?
The clue is it's something to do with what Jack Straw did in 1968.
I think I know the answer to this. Anne Widdecombe's the odd one out, because she's the only one holding a decapitated barn owl. Can you see?
Close, but no cigar.
Didn't the EasyJet passengers sort of revolt and they decided they weren't going to get off the plane when they were told to get off the plane or get on? They were fed up being mucked around by EasyJet, so they stayed on.
It's refusing to take a breathalyser. No, it isn't, actually, no. It just suddenly occurred to me that I didn't know what I was talking about.
It's going to dawn on all of us eventually, isn't it?
You must be catching Boris.
I know, I'm glad that I'm not alone.
So it's not about the date. It's 68. Did he go on a protest march, a CND march?
Got arrested.
Absolutely. It's to do with a non-standing type of demonstration.
Sit down
Sit down in...
So they sat in the plane.
That's right. Shall I tell you the answer?
yes.
The answer is they've all taken part in sit-in protests, except for Princess Anne's dog, Dottie, who was told to sit, but unfortunately, for 2 passing children, bit.
So a simple mishearing, then, really.
When did Anne Widdecombe take part in a sitting?
During a debate in the House of Commons, she was in a committee room, and she refused to leave because she wanted to disrupt the progress of a government bill she disagreed with. Good for her.
Did William Straw do it in the nude, then? Is that why we've got him with no clothes on?
No, he did it at Oxford because he wanted to protest against tuition fees.
All right.
And
In
top-up
1968, though?
fees.
You said it happened in 1968?
That's his son.
That was William.
That was later.
Oh, I see.
Sorry. I'm so sorry, yes. Jack Straw's his father.
And William Shaw's his son.
Yes.
These two are they related?
That's right.
They're both men of straw, anyway. We know.
Can anybody... They're both men of straw. Can anybody remember what else Jack
Blood
Straw...
sugar level's gone down.
What was the
50,000 volts through the chair, actually do it. Yes, well done, that's right. Why is my arse on fire? There's a reason for that. It's because I'm wearing a blazer. And here we go. I'm here. Off you go. Have you not noticed that I'm an old Etonian as well, Boris? Old Etonian tie?
Yes, so it is, my goodness. Good for you. Yeah, that's right.
Do you not remember me there?
You were the chap.
Who shoved your head down the toilet?
Good
It's had
God.
a lasting effect.
You weren't wearing that earlier on. But you were wearing a different shirt, too.
Yes, while you were talking, I took off my shirt, my tie, put another shirt, another tie on.
Yeah.
This is an old Italian tie, but from the 60s, when everyone was a bit high.
It's a good one. They gave me this one when I came on this show, you know.
Did they?
Oh, corruption! You'll have to declare that in your thing. One tie from a period of vital ties for you.
Well, I'll give it back. I'll give it back. Many
Be
thanks.
Tie Man of the Year.
Many thanks.
That's right.
Now, what's that? Oh, sorry.
Are you receiving messages from beyond the grave? Does the name Elvis Presley mean anything to anybody? I'm going through to Simon.
Yeah.
Simon.
I think it's Duncan Smith, isn't it?
Yeah, it's the chief whip. The answer is they've all staged sit-ins with the exception of Dottie, Princess Anne's dog, who refused to sit and instead attacked 2 small children. Young William Straw is fast gaining a reputation as a charismatic, idealistic political firebrand. Well, they do say it skips a generation. Anne Widdecombe has been one of the stars in Celebrity Fit Club, where in one incredible week they lost over 30 stone of unsightly fat. When Rick Waller walked out. So, I don't know who Rick Waller is. So,
It's not important.
I hope I haven't insulted him.
He's a singer.
No.
So, with just one round to go, the scores are looking like this. Paul and Clive have... You still have 12 points. What's going on here? Ian and Stephen also have 12 points, and they both remorselessly failed to advance. We now come jubilantly to the final round, which is, as usual, Missing Words, featuring this week's guest publication, Rabbits Only. So here we go.
Britain must learn...
Read it out, Boris.
Oh, sorry.
It's an audio-visual experience.
I'm following this.
TV is a visual medium, you're quite right. You shouldn't do that.
You were just
Sorry, I just thought I could relax for a second.
It's not the Houses of Parliament, you know. You can't just go to sleep.
Britain must learn to love.
Stop, you're not meant to... It's my auto cue.
Oh, sorry.
Britain must learn to love what?
Boris.
Plumbers.
Love
Learn to love a
better.
plumber.
No.
The French.
What's the answer?
Plumbers.
But hang on, sorry, you are right. Paul, you're right. The answer is plumbers. I'm delighted to tell you that you are right. As well as a shortage of full-time plumbers, there's also a shortage of part-time plumbers, or as they prefer to be known, firefighters. Next, even what have accidents?
It's got to be rabbits.
Bunnies. Is it bunnies?
Are you not supposed to be answering this
The
one?
answer is rabbits.
This is us.
The answer is rabbits.
I said bunnies.
The answer bunnies is you know, occupies the same semantic field as rabbits.
Thank you very much.
How big is this field?
It's a field in which the rabbits and the bunnies are
Yes.
lexically coterminous, but it's
You're quite right.
Don't clap. Some of us don't understand.
It's the rabbits. Next question. Beware of what?
Rabbits.
No.
Beware of chairing Have I Got News for You?
No, the answer is beware the OAP.
Oh, yes.
This is the reign of terror being waged against neighbours by this woman on the Isle of Wight. According to neighbours, she plays loud music, sends malicious letters, hits people with her walking stick and uses foul language you don't expect from a 79-year-old. I blame the parents. Next, do what pose a health risk to your rabbit?
Ovens.
Mixomatosis flavoured cigarettes.
Think of something in there. They've got the Christmas issue of Rabbits Only is coming up, so what...
Christmas trees.
Elves.
Do gypsies.
I'm sorry,
No,
so
Paul's
we've
got
got
it.
the answers over here. It's Christmas trees.
Well done.
I don't know why. And lastly...
I don't know why.
It's obvious. They just fall over.
Yes.
Yeah, they do.
All those needles falling down and the
They
rabbits...
choke to death.
Yeah, they put their paws on it. Go,
They get pine throats.
Yes.
But they don't have
Pine throat.
Yeah.
pine throat.
Pine throats.
Yes. Like
Nasty with a rabbit with pine throats. Terrible. Swells right up like that, pine throat.
But you know, they don't...
It's like the opposite of acupuncture. It's on the inside.
They'll be all right. They've got their lucky rabbit's feet to keep
Yeah,
farming around. You still live in Islington as well, Boris?
partly, yes.
No.
I don't think you live on the
Wait.
planet Earth. Never mind.
I do live in Islington.
A lot of it?
We do, yeah. No, I don't. I wish I did, but I don't. I think we should get off my my property. Next, what? Not just for Christmas.
I think this has got to be gobbling.
It's December the 25th.
Both very, very good answers. The answer is, in fact, sprouts.
Yes.
It's the traditional reminder at this time of year from the Battersea Sprouts home, apparently.
That's
No,
good.
it's good. I
That's
thought
a
it
good joke, yeah.
was pretty good.
And you sold it brilliantly.
Next, Chancellor Brown puts on what?
His mother's frock and pleads insanity. A grey face. A new face. He's having a face transplant.
Dead right.
Sackcloth and ashes.
Puts on
Sackcloth and
BBC
ashes.
One at...
Earth, Wind and Fire.
No, sackcloth and ashes
Emerson, Lake and Palmer.
is... No, you've said it already, Paul. Well done.
Well done, Paul.
So, well done, Paul. It is
Quick with your
a
head.
brave face, one he borrowed presumably from John Travolta.
How do you know it's Gordon
That's a joke.
Brown's
That's a
face?
joke. No, it's a joke deriving from the very important film called Face Off. And
Yes.
and the
Nicolas Cage.
You wouldn't want to get that title slightly wrong, would you?
Yeah.
Four-letter word, F.
Yes, I'm with you. Yes, I'm
Oh,
with you.
yeah.
It just wouldn't occur to me to say something like that on a programme like this.
It's occurred to everybody else.
Next, trouble for what?
Rabbits. Rabbits, rabbits, rabbits.
No. Think of something that's rabbit-related but is not.
Ministry of Rabbits.
Almost.
Ministry
Very,
for
very-
rabbis.
No.
Which ministry is that, then?
The answer,
well, I don't
the
know.
answer is the British Rabbit Council.
Ah, yes.
The BRC.
Apparently at council meetings, it's just rabbit, rabbit, rabbit. That's a list of the members present. And finally, how to what your rabbit?
Cook.
No,
Skin. Jug.
no,
Yes.
Council.
virtually. The answer is, of course, how to understand your
Oh,
rabbit.
yeah.
There's a guide which is printed. I'm told number one is saying it's unable to balance.
Here's your comb, Mr. Boris. I don't think I'll bother with Mr. Clive.
That's right. Number five is trying to tell you it's dead. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of tonight's contest. And the final scores, limping over the finish line, are as follows. Paul and Clive on 16 points, and Ian and Stephen narrowly pipped to the post with 13 points. Go on, Clive. From the party that keeps its promises. And we're sorry, there you go. Well done. Well done. Well done. Many congratulations to all of you. Before we go, there's just time for a quick caption competition.
Oh, is there?
Yep.
Jack Straw saying, you can say what you like, he can't hear you. Is Jack Straw saying, that's the bloke over there who super glued our heads together?
On which note, we say thank you to our panellists, Ian Hislop and Stephen K. Amos, Paul Mertens and Clive Anderson. And I leave you with the news that after a Tory reunion at the Garrick Club, Norman Lamont concedes defeat in the pickled egg eating contest. Before a concert in Bournemouth, there's evidence the years have not been kind to the Beverley sisters. And at Westminster, Tony Blair makes yet another speech about his commitment to public services. Good night. I'm afraid there's quite a few howlers that... No. I mean,
you did very well.
I'm afraid I have to do almost everything again.
No.
Yeah.
None of us will live that long.
No?
It happens every week. There are always sort of bits to do again just to help the editing process. So it's not because Boris lacked fluency.
Yeah, OK.
And you can always tell how well it's going judging by how early the first retake takes place. So if it's in the introductions, then you know we're in for a long night.
On Ian's team is a stand-up comedian.
I'd rather set that gag up. I do
think you
apologise.
did.
I had to do more than this the week I did it.
Nonsense. You're doing nonsense. I saw you really nonsense.
You saw the edited version, though.
I did.
You've seen the week I did it. Didn't go out.
When are you going to do it?
I'm terribly busy. I've got this magazine to run. You wouldn't appreciate it.
So we're nearly at the end of the rehearsal now. We can start the recording.